Today we are doing emotional losses in the elderly. We'll go ahead. Go ahead and open up to page 2. The 5 stages of grief. Most people think that grief and grieving only happen after death of a family member or friend, but people can go through the stages of grief for many types of significant losses. There is no right or wrong way to grieve. Each person does it his or her own way. However, there are 5 basic stages of grief. There's denial, and this can't be happening to me. During this stage, a person may deny or even ignore that the loss has occurred. You may hear things like, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and this will be a dream. You may see your client withdraw to avoid facing the truth or regress into childlike behavior, needing constant reassurance that everything is going to be okay. Anger. Why me? When denial wears off and in reality sets in, anger emerges. Most people will have some anger about their loss, and anger can be misdirected towards other family members, friends, doctors, and even towards you. You guys can grab a snack if you want. It's important to understand that anger is a critical stage of grief. It helps give the grieving person a focus. The only way to move through the stage of anger is to feel it. So don't deny your client's emotions. If your client is angry, listen, be present, and never tell someone that their feeling is wrong. Bargaining. If you do this, things will change. This is an internal struggle, usually between the grieving person and God. Please, God, I will do anything you ask. Just bring back my beloved husband. Bargaining usually arises from guilt. People often feel there must be something, anything they can do to change the reality of the situation. Depression. This really happened to me. When bargaining fails, depression takes over. Depression and withdrawal are normal in the grieving process. Depression occurs when the sadness becomes so overwhelming, the person finally surrenders to grief. You may see the grieving person experience uncontrolled spell of crying, long periods of silence, deep thinking of reflection, hopelessness, and even blame. Acceptance. This is what happened to me. Acceptance occurs when the grieving person comes to terms with the reality of the situation.
Somebody dropped glasses right outside the door.
Thank you. I was looking
At this stage, the person is aware of the loss, understands the impact of the loss, and is able to talk about what happened openly. The person will become and believe that life can be adjusted or adapted to the loss. We're going to go to page 3. On the right-hand side, the think about it. Could your client be depressed or even suicidal? Each day, the U.S. loses 14 senior citizens through suicide. And the fact that there are people who are 75 and older have the highest rate of suicide. That's crazy.
Wow.
For every 100 elderly home health clients, at least 14 are depressed. Some symptoms of depression are feeling sad or tearful, no interest in doing anything, having feelings of worthlessness, being agitated easily, and thoughts about suicide. Some warning signs of suicide: severe depression, talking about suicide, seeking out the means to carry out suicide like pills or guns, feeling loneliness, helplessness or hopelessness, anxiety or panic, saying goodbye to people as if they may never see them again, sudden sense of calm after being extremely depressed. Report any symptoms of depression or suicide to your supervisor right away. We're going to go to page 4 at the bottom down there. What can you do to help? If you have negative feelings about getting older, don't let them show during your working with your clients. Help your clients focus on things that they are still able to do rather than dwelling on things that they can't do anymore. Talk to your clients about current events such as politics, don't do that, music, movies, and keeping up with the times helps people stay young at heart. Share funny stories or jokes with your client to keep them laughing. Sometimes you may be that only person that they see all day long, and they look forward to your visit and they want it to be upbeat, so make sure you do the best that you can. Sometimes we have personal things going on in our lives, and sometimes it's hard to shut it down. We're going to skip over to page 9. So for the loss of independence, allow your elderly clients elderly clients to make as many of their own decisions as possible. This allows them to feel in control and may keep them from becoming more and more dependent on you. Enhance your client's sense of purpose, giving them a job to do, caring for a potted plant, straightening their room, or folding their laundry. Above all, treat your clients with respect and dignity. Out of things that you guys normally do in, say you have a nursing home patient, is hold up a couple different outfits and let them choose what shirt they want to wear or what dress they want to wear. They're giving them that control and being able to make choices, and they feel like you're not making every decision for them. Something as simple as that will mean the world to them. Okay, and page 10. Communicate with clients after a loss. It's easy to stop at any grocery store or pharmacy and pick up a Hallmark card to let someone know you care. But being able to truly express heartfelt care and concern for someone after a loss is much more difficult. Most people lack practice talking about loss and grief, but as a nursing assistant, it is important for you to know how to talk in a meaningful and honest way to a person who is grieving. Here are a few things for do's and don'ts. Do say, "You are in my thoughts and prayers." This is okay to say if it is true and that you're sincere. Never say, "I know how you feel." Even if you have suffered a similar loss, grief is felt differently by each person. Do say, "He was such a caring, creative, loving person, and I'm sorry he died." Pointing out a specific quality of the person who died shows that you value that person. Never say, "He's at peace now," or "She's in a better place." These are cliches that are often used but not very genuine and do not provide any real comfort. Do say, "How are you feeling today, and what can I do to help?" Ask a grieving person how he or she is feeling, and be sincere in your offer to help. Never say, "It's part of God's plan," or "Everything happens for a reason." Many people will not find comfort in a God that leaves them feeling sad and lost. Understanding spiritual doubt. Emotional loss can lead even the most faithful to doubt or question their belief in God. You may hear things like, "What kind of God would allow this to happen?" or "Why is God punishing me?" Spiritual doubt is a normal reaction to loss or grief. In fact, many great spiritual leaders have asked the exact questions when feeling abandoned or cheated by God. In 1979, Mother Teresa wrote, "Jesus has a very special love for you. As for me, the silence and the emptiness is so great that I look and do not see, listen and do not hear." Surprisingly, doubting an existence or motivation of God often leads the person to a place of spiritual growth. Offer to contact the client's minister, or in our case, the chaplain, to request a visit from clergy if you feel that your client is experiencing spiritual doubt. Let's go to the next page, page 11. We're almost done. Tips for healing clients to cope with loss. Down towards the bottom, learn to recognize the symptoms of depression. These include weight changes, loss of interest in everyday activities, sleeping too much or having trouble getting to sleep, problems paying attention, confusion, irritability, especially in elderly males, Keeping in mind that some elderly people may be suffering from depression, even though they don't seem particularly sad. Be sure to report any signs of depression to your patient's case manager. Not me. I mean, you can do it to me, but you're going to get faster service from calling the case manager. So, let's try to go through these. All right. All of the following are normal stages of grieving, except
Letter B.
B,
Suicide.
suicide. Number 2, your client's recent loss of her, let me just start that over. Your client recently lost her spouse. They had been married for 50 years. A helpful way to express your care and concern is to say,
Letter C.
is anybody else here other than Jocelyn?
I'm keeping you in my prayers.
I'm keeping you in my prayers.
Because Jocelyn always one of the first.
I always say that to them.
This is okay to say as long as you are sincere. In general, it is best to avoid common sayings like this, he's in a better place, or everything happens for a reason. Using cliches is not comforting to the grieving person. So the answer was C. Number 3, which of the following is a sign that a client may be thinking about suicide?
She denies. Is she still in denial space? Maybe no, not yet.
What did you say, Jasmine? C, that's correct. She has a
Silent
sudden
sense of
calm
calm.
after a period of depression. This is often a warning sign that the person has made the final decision to commit suicide and is at peace with the thought of leaving the world. And number 4, a good way to help your elderly client cope with his loss of independence is
A.
A, that's correct. Give him a job to do. Simple jobs like keeping his room tidy or folding the laundry can give a person a sense of purpose. I found that when I worked as an aide in the Alzheimer's unit, giving them socks and socks to fold and washcloths. It was a simple task, but they felt like they were doing something, so it was nice. Number 5, a client with poor appetite may be suffering from depression. True. That's right. Number 6, talking to clients about current events, music, or movies can help them stay young at heart.
True.
True. Number 7, clients who are angry should be left alone to think about their behavior.
False.
False. Clients who are angry should not be left alone. If your client is angry, listen, be present, and never tell someone that their feelings are wrong. Number 8, spiritual doubt should be discouraged as it often leads to suicidal thoughts. False. Spiritual doubt is normal reaction to loss or grief and often leads to a person to a place of spiritual growth. Number 9, using the phrase, everything happens for a reason is a cliche that is not very comforting to a grieving person. True. And number 10, the stage of grief when the grieving person comes to terms and is at peace with the reality of the situation is known as acceptance. Does anybody have any questions?
Yay, we're gonna go home now.
So sign it, date it, fill out the back. I'm going to turn the camera on.